Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? That's the question. Am I live? I think I might be live. Okay. Looks like I am. Okay, folks. I'm Bernie Bro. I want to apologize. I did a rant earlier, another video. I'm kind of kind of on edge right now. I'm not that much of an asshole, I promise. But the news items I run across gets me teed off sometimes. And finding out what New York State did to Bernie Sanders for the June 23rd primaries in that state. I mean, I'm could just get mad all over again, but I won't. But I will explain. I'm Bernie Bro. Here I go. In 2016 and 2020, I've never seen so much dishonesty done by a corrupt political party. I thought I'd seen it all over the years. Thought I saw it all in 2016. I saw it all in this damn primary so far. Isn't it enough, Democrats, that you cheated Bernie Sanders at every opportunity and with a compliant corporate media just screwing over Bernie Sanders and about three other candidates the way y'all did? The manipulating of the voter app in Iowa, the basically minimizing Bernie Sanders' victory in New Hampshire, and being actually very honest, seeing how sullen all the corporate media were when Bernie Sanders blew out Nevada and kick ass. And then all of a sudden, Obama made a few phone calls, and Amy Klobuchar dropped out. Pete Buttigieg dropped out. Beto O'Rourke went and made it clear he supports Joe Biden, and Klobuchar and Buttigieg follow suit, and Elizabeth Warren decided to stay in the primaries to hurt Bernie Sanders in Massachusetts. That Super Tuesday that took place, it was so obvious. Congressman Jim Clyburn endorsing and Joe Biden and urging people in South Carolina to vote for Joe Biden. And all of a sudden, Joe Biden, who was a fucking joke, who was a big time loser in Iowa and in New Hampshire, all of a sudden turned around. And all of a sudden, Joe Biden became a big shot. And the media continues to talk their shit about Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, who looked like he just lost his will to fight. And some people on the left want to say, well, he sold out, or what's happened to him. He got fucked over, folks. I don't know how many times I have to repeat that. But he got majorly screwed over. I mean, I'm still grateful that a national conversation that I keep talking about was forced in here after decades of media blackout, corporations manipulating the political system, buying our politicians from both parties to make sure that certain common sense ideas would not be discussed loud in polite conversation. And now New York State decided they're going to take Bernie Sanders off the ballot because he suspended his campaign. Let me tell you why that is bogus. I live in North Carolina, and in March, I canvassed for Bernie Sanders. And in March, when I voted in the primaries, that fateful Tuesday morning, I was looking at all the candidates that were on the ballot. And all the candidates that dropped out were still on the ballot. Just about every one of them. New York State, you have no right to remove Bernie Sanders' name from the ballot. You had no right at all. DNC, Democratic Party, rank and file activists. You wonder why I'm so critical of this party? Republicans gerrymandered congressional districts all over the country. They go and they have access, corporate access, and they go and funnel money in various states to use these convoluted electronic voting machines instead of a paper ballot where you can mark an X by your favorite candidate like they would in places like England. Republicans are the king masters in a lot of ways when it comes to voter fraud, but so are the Democrats. With Republicans, they do it to suppress minorities. I'm not really into my identity politics, and I'm not even saying that this time. I'm not even saying Republicans are like racists, don't want minorities to vote, but they don't want minorities to vote because they know that they won't be voting for them. That's why they don't do it. That's why they manipulate the system to try to discourage the populace from voting. Low voter turnout, get out the religious fanatics and get out the gun nuts, and lower voter turnout because everybody else is so discouraged, or even if there are people trying to vote, they find ways to not allow them to vote. But the Democrats, they do a lot of this shit too, but they do it against the left. They do it against people who wants a living wage, people who are fighting like hell to preserve what few labor unions we got left in this country. Those of us who want free college, those of us who think that medical care ought to be available to 100% of the American population, that we should have a UBI, that we should have living wage, full employment, a Green New Deal, getting us out of these wars. But the corporations and the military industrial complex that controls both parties don't want that, obviously. The pocketbook, their wallet. This is why we don't get a bailout, but the ocean liner industries that register in the Cayman Islands do not pay taxes to the U.S. government with this COVID-19 crisis, and we're going to have a stimulus package this time around that doesn't give UBI or stimulus payment to the American people, but give it to the banks, give it to the hotel industry, the airlines, everybody in corporate America, and even corporations that are not officially American because they go and register in the Cayman Islands to avoid paying taxes, treat their employees like slaves or indentured servants, more likely. And then those cruise liners like, gimme, 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 gimme. But oh no, we can't afford free college. We can't afford Medicare for all. Oh no, 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 no. But you know what? When we want to go and invade another country, or send drones across another country into a desert halfway across the world, or we want to go and overthrow the government of Venezuela, or we want to go and try to start fucking World War III with Iran to appease religious fanatics here in the United States that vote Republican, all of a sudden the money shows up. I'm getting mad again. And what do the Democrats do? Instead of fighting the right wing, they fight the left wing. Sure, the Democrats are not. They're the Democrats are not. They're not a bunch of religious fanatics, and the Democratic Party are not a bunch of gun nuts or xenophobic against gay people or brown people or what have you. No, no, no. Those things are, as I said, the tolerance factor, even among corporate Democrats, admirable. But it needs to go beyond that, folks. It does. It needs to go beyond tolerance. And when I say tolerance, doesn't mean calling anybody that you disagree with a bigot. You rather go and fuck over an elderly man that fought like hell for civil rights in the 1960s. Someone who was for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer rights long before all the other liberals felt brave enough to support it. It took Hillary Clinton to 2013, for crying out loud, to finally support gay marriage. Bernie Sanders was doing that in the early 70s, folks. We're talking about a candidate that's running for president, that is campaigning on issues that are not the radical left. In Europe, is the dead center. It's the absolute moral center. And so taken for granted. And so mainstream that even the conservatives in those countries are okay with free medical care and the welfare state and generous retirement system. Even some of them are okay with things like, in Norway, even the far right supports keeping the state-owned oil companies. And here, what do? We go and screw over Bernie Sanders again, because we don't want him to have any leverage at the Democratic convention. I hope that it is a contentious convention, and I hope that it is disrupted as hell. I hope for another 1968 Chicago in Milwaukee this summer. I'm Bernie Bro. I want you to subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. Comment good, bad, or indifferent.